Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle Froh, and I'm leading the Note7 forum here at Samsung. Welcome to this evening's discussion. Back in the fall, we invited you, Note7 owners, to stay connected with us throughout the recall process and engage in an ongoing conversation with us. We really appreciate that you've accepted that invitation. We're here tonight with Samsung's President and Chief Operating Officer, Tim Baxter, and Senior Vice President of Product Strategy, Justin Dennison. We also have several Samsung employees here with us tonight because they want to hear from you as well. We're also very happy to be joined by renowned tech expert, Shelley Palmer, who's going to facilitate the discussion and ask the questions that you are asking either prior to the event or during the live stream. While we may not get to every question tonight, we will respond to you via email with an answer to each and every one. So with that, I would like to introduce Shelley Palmer.
Thanks so much, Michelle. Truly appreciate it. Hello, everybody. I'm Shelley Palmer, and welcome Note7 Consumer Forum viewers. We're very happy to have you here. I have my Samsung tablet with your questions coming in live, and I hope to get to them. And I have a bunch of pre-packaged questions. Just a little level set. You all know that earlier this year, mid-August, the Note7 came out. I personally think it's one of the best handheld devices ever made, and I think Samsung felt it was the best one they'd ever made. Just a couple weeks later, well, we had some thermal runaway issues, and that caused a little bit of a row, and all of you know a lot about that. The second Note comes out, new batteries, kind of the same issue. And so that brings us to just earlier this week, when after a bunch of extensive investigations, Samsung executives got together, and they had a press conference, and they talked about exactly what caused the Note7 issues and what they're going to do about it. That brings us to right this moment. I'm here with Tim Baxter and Justin Dennison, and we are going to talk tonight, not only about what happened, but we're going to take your questions and we're going to ask them and expect real answers. And in success, what's going to happen is your questions will be answered and the confusion will be dissipated, and we're going to move on and have an amazing 2017 of Samsung products. But before I get to all that, hey, Tim, Justin, what are we doing here?
What are we doing here? Well, first of all, I want to make sure I emphasize this, and that is, at Samsung, the Note consumer is Samsung's most loyal consumer by a large amount. We appreciate that, yet we also understand the responsibility associated with that. And quite frankly, we let the Note7 consumers down. What we're doing here today is to be able to say that we have owned this problem from the start. It is our issue. As part of that, though, we need to be able to articulate what went wrong, what we learned from it, and why it's not going to happen again. And we're going to touch on those 3 points. But I want to put it into context, the way we think about this. And after going through all of the root cause work, and you'll hear a bit of that from Justin, is that innovation has been and continues to be and will always be in Samsung's DNA. We continue to design and develop innovative products and solutions to the marketplace. We also test our batteries and our products to the industry standards and, in fact, go beyond those industry standards. But in this case, that wasn't enough to find these issues. And so it really calls to us, the biggest learning on this is we must innovate around the processes. And we'll talk about that a bit. And I would also say, in the context of innovation, what we're doing here today in reaching out to consumers directly impacted by this, we hope is a step in the way we can innovate and the way we communicate with these valued consumers.
Well, thanks for that. Justin, I'm going to ask you flat out, what went wrong?
Well, Shelley, as you pointed out, we've been undertaking an immense investigation, right? And it took several months. And the goal really was to do a comprehensive analysis and view to find out what the root cause was. We didn't want to assume anything along the way. So Samsung undertook its own investigation. We dedicated a massive amount of resources. We tested over 200,000 phones. We tested over 30,000 batteries. We literally built new facilities, okay, and tested batteries, tried to replicate the failures. In addition to that, we brought in third parties, the best of breed industry experts to come in, look at our device, the hardware, the software, our manufacturing process, our assembly process, to give us an objective and independent view of what happened. Okay, the result of that is fairly straightforward. Each party agreed in its own analysis that the issue is not due to the phone itself. It wasn't due to the hardware surrounding the battery. It wasn't due to the software. It wasn't due to the manufacturing process. It was due to the battery itself. In this case, there were two batteries. You pointed out the two failures. Battery A was the first battery. We call it battery A. It had a design problem. Okay? There was a fundamental problem in the design so that there were isolated thermal failures or thermal runaways in the market. We shifted our focus to battery B, which was a separately tested, validated battery, but it too had problems. It was a different problem. It was a manufacturing problem. Because when we made that shift from battery A to battery B, supplier of battery B could not supply that level of volume and maintain this quality, despite the fact that we all agreed that it was the right plan based on all the testing we had seen from the battery. So unfortunately, that is what happened to the Note 7.
Got it. So Tim, how did it take this long? Why did it take this long to figure this out? Like, what was the deal?
Well, I think if you think about the fact that we launched this product on August 19th, shortly thereafter we discovered some consumer concerns about it. We secured those products, we evaluated and tested those products, and between 8/19, by 9/2, 2 weeks or less, we took the bold decision globally to stop selling this product and issuing exchanges for it. And we did that for safety purposes. That has been and continues to be our guiding thrust on this. So in that sense, it was under 2 weeks.
Why didn't you just pull all the phones? I mean, you could have just said, hey, Note 7s are in trouble. Let's just get them all off the market right now.
Yeah, I think if you look at it, in many ways, we sent that first clear signal of stop selling within 2 weeks. From there, that's the time we were working with the CPSC to come up with an appropriate remedy. And as Justin said, we felt confident that the issues that were in that
In this particular case, it wasn't enough. We're pushing for product innovation. That's what consumers want. That's what we're trying to serve to them. But our process innovation, our quality control, obviously wasn't running in lockstep with that. That's a key learning. And we've taken that learning and applied that to something we call the 8-point battery safety check on devices moving forward.
So tell me a little bit about that. I know that process was identified as one of the big issues here, that you're innovating products so intensely that in some ways the process wasn't innovated as intensely. So tell me about the 8-point battery check you guys came up with.
So we really took this situation, this crisis, as Tim referenced, as an opportunity to learn. Okay, so every crisis can become an opportunity, and that's how we thought about it. When we kicked off our own investigation in that massive testing lab that I described to you, you can imagine the amount of data and understanding we were gaining about what happened to those devices along the way. And we were able to craft testing protocols to catch the exact problems that happened in the Note 7. We didn't stop there either. We were able to add additional tests that we believe would catch other types of problems. So we've generated a body of knowledge that we've then packaged into this 8-point battery safety check. And to be very clear, the 8-point battery safety check would have caught what was in the Note 7.
Yeah, that was my next question. It's like, okay, if that was in place, then we wouldn't have had the issues.
Yeah, battery A, there's a specific test in the 8-point battery safety check. It's an X-ray test where we're looking inside the battery cell itself, where we can literally examine whether that design flaw is present or not. In battery B, which was a separate issue, there was a manufacturing problem. We have a test where we actually take batteries apart to make sure that the quality level is consistent over the entire life cycle of the device. Not just at the beginning, not just in the middle, not just at the end, the entire process, so that we can make sure that the battery is of sufficient quality.
Got it. So this is the Note 7 Consumer Forum, and we took questions via email and over the internet and other ways. And Maya, I don't know if you're out there. I hope you are, and I hope you're watching. She's got a question, and it goes like this. And I quote, Tim, what are you doing to ensure that this does not happen again?
Yeah. I think there's a host of things that we are committed to. Justin went through several of those. I think the additional things that we are doing, which I think are very important, that are more forward-looking, are we have partnered with and created what we call a battery advisory group. And there's 4 members as part of that, 3 from the academia area, 1 from Stanford, 1 from Berkeley, 1 from Cambridge. The smartest minds in lithium-ion research and development and science, as well as a leader in the development of lithium batteries for commercial applications. So we're partnering with them. They've reviewed the root cause, of course. They also are guiding us on additional safety measures that can be taken. And most importantly, they're helping us do, and we're partnering with them on research on next generation lithium-ion technologies and next generation batteries. And I mention that because what is crystal clear and which drives a lot of this innovation, we know our consumers want it, and we as consumers want bigger screens. We want that phone battery to last longer each day. We want to watch more content with more apps running simultaneously on more powerful processing power, all of which raise the bar and raise the expectation. And as we've learned through this process, we want to continue to innovate, and we do, but we have to make sure these other components follow and innovate at that same speed. Sure. So we can deliver upon what the needs are and deliver them in a safe manner.
That makes total sense to me. Tablet question. This is from Jessica B. in Kissimmee, Florida, and she asks flat out, can lithium-ion batteries ever be safe? Big question mark, 3 question marks actually. Can lithium-ion batteries ever be safe? You take that one.
It's an industry challenge, right? Tim kind of laid it out in terms of what's driving product innovation. Something has to supply that energy along the way. Lithium-ion batteries are frankly state-of-the-art in terms of the amount of energy you can put in a relatively small package. That's why we all use them in the industry. Yes, we believe we can put safe batteries in our products. That's our commitment. That's our commitment to continue to do that again and again and again. How are we going to do that? We're going to do that with the 8-point battery safety check. And then what comes after the 8-point battery safety check, which is yet to be defined. Okay? That's the Samsung position. But we're not going to stop there. We're going to contribute what we've learned to the industry standards bodies, which will benefit everybody in the industry. And frankly, will benefit other categories, not just mobile phones, but other products, because there's plenty of product categories that use lithium-ion batteries and everything,
right? And you get recalls all the time.
So that's our commitment.
And I think I would add one more point to that. In our press event on Monday, we went as far as to articulate that in this learning, in these new standards, in these new tests, we think that there will be IP that comes out as a result of it. And we're very open to making that IP available to the industry and to other industries. So again, we look at as the tough learning about this from this process, but our responsibility to add and contribute to this, because the desires of the consumers, the desires of us to deliver against this new innovation is such that that's going to continue, and we need to be able to add value into that process in ways beyond our own needs.
It makes great sense. I got to go back to something you guys talked about earlier. Justin mentioned that there were 2 battery suppliers, supplier A and supplier B, or battery A and battery B. You guys have a lot of supplier relationships, obviously, and what can you just walk everybody through what it means to supply Samsung and how these guys got this through and how that all works?
Yeah. No, I think it's a great question. I think what most people don't understand is the average flagship product has some 500 discrete components in it. They come from anywhere between 300 to 350 different suppliers, right? In the process of that, we also have multiple suppliers competing for that business, right? They're bringing their innovation, their design, their technology and IP in a competitive manner to win that business. That has with it certain industry checks and balances, because you got to deliver quality, you got to deliver quantity, you got to deliver it at the right price. And then if you take that down a step and talk about it in the context of batteries, what I think most people don't understand is, unlike my flashlight that might have 4 C batteries in it, right? Very well-defined product, universal product. In the case of smartphones, there is basically a uniquely designed product, a battery, for every one of those products. And that enables, again, for innovation and design and competition, but it also is one that requires a greater level of process. Even when you're managing 350 suppliers, we rely on our suppliers for a lot of that. They have to deliver against a spec, they have to deliver against a quality standard. With this process, including the 8-point test, a component of that is we're going to do additional tests on that. We're going to require additional spec design requirements in it to enable us to still innovate and still have that safety built in.
So if the problem is a supplier, like, are you going to work with those same guys again? If you've identified battery A guy, battery B guy, like, are they still Samsung suppliers?
Yeah, there's a defined number of suppliers in the industry. And we first, and I think this is very important, again, I've said it, but I'll say it again, we own this. It's on us, right? We defined the spec for the battery. They design based against that spec with the assumption of a proper level of quality. That did not happen, right? The focus, however, for the last 4 months has been around the clock, what went wrong, working with our suppliers, working with our engineers, working through the value chain to understand that. That's been our priority. There'll be plenty of time to look at those implications.
Jeff K., Dallas, Texas, and I quote, "All right, who at Samsung was responsible and has anyone been fired?"
Another good question.
Hey, I didn't ask it, but Jeff
Yeah.
is asking the question. I think everybody wants to know who's getting canned over this.
And I would say basically the same response to the battery piece, the supply piece. All of our focus, all hands on deck. We took, our president took 700 engineers, stood up a brand new facility, put all of our resources on that, including our suppliers, including our people. That's been the focus. That has been the focus. Other people may figure out what and how we do down the road, but that has been the focus, and our focus really is supporting that here from a U.S., yet developing plans to reestablish trust with consumers.
This is a question that Lara, who doesn't have a last name clearly, from California says, do I have to worry about other Samsung phones or products?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Let's cover off some basic facts. Number one, Tim talked a little bit about this. I'll go into a little bit deeper. As we create innovative products, they're very customized. They're very specially designed to do certain types of things very, very well.
Yeah.
Right? The Note series is very good at multitasking, and as the S Pen, et cetera. Other devices are geared towards other types of use cases. Because they're so specialized and because we're trying to put them in beautiful designs that people desire, everything's very custom inside the phone, including the battery. The Note 7 battery is different than the battery that's in our other devices. In fact, each phone has its own battery. We've established that in this particular case, the issue was the battery itself. Okay, that issue, therefore, is not in our other products. Okay? In order to build confidence and make sure that Laura feels confident about existing Samsung products or future Samsung products, that's why we're being transparent. That's why we're talking about the additional checks we're going to do. That's why we're partnering with industry standards bodies. So we'll continue to advance this forward. But fundamentally, Laura should have no concern.
I would add to that as well and put some context on the fact that we've been a brand over the last 6, 7, 8 years that has grown very fast and won over consumers' trust through that process. We sell and have consumers purchasing over 300 million phones a year globally. As Justin said, this issue is isolated to the Note 7 for the reasons we just described. But we know we have to continue to win over consumers, and we're going to continue to do that. But we make products that are reliable.
So Shane from I don't know where, who doesn't have a last name, basically asked the question that apparently an awful lot of people asked online, which is, and you just answered part of it, but telling Shane what he wants to hear. How can I trust Samsung again?
No, it's we earned that question, and we own it, and it's not just the points that Justin and I just made, but again, our focus has been around the clock to get after what went wrong here. I think what we think we're take some comfort with relative to the trust question is we've disclosed all of this, a great deal of information about the root cause, information about how we design our products, the engineers we're putting behind it. We'll have consumer videos that will tell the story of this, that consumers can see, a short form, 2-minute video to understand what's going on. We are trying to be extremely transparent. That is at the heart of winning consumers' trust back. And then it comes with a promise that we are going to work to regain that trust every single day. And for the 70% or so of the consumers that have remained in the brand, and some of them had to go through this process twice, we say thank you. We really do. We appreciate their support. And frankly, for the 30 or so, 25 to 30% who chose another brand, we say we understand and we want an opportunity to win back that trust again. It may not be today, but we'll have some new solutions and we'll have new opportunities to win that. That's our challenge, and we own that.
So in retrospect, what would you have done differently? If this just really, what would you have done differently?
I think, when you look at a process like this, you look at a crisis, not a crisis like we went through, there were so many moving parts. So many, from press, from consumer issues, to regulatory bodies, our channel partners and carriers and retailers, everything moving really, really fast. I think in hindsight, you can look back and say, boy, there's a lot we could do better on the communication around that. We could make the process easier for exchange. But again, these things were happening overnight and moving fast. That's not an excuse. We, again, own that. But what guided us through this process was safety, safety, safety. Every decision we made started with what is the best thing to do for safety for the consumers. And from that standpoint, we stand very comfortable with the decisions we made. Yes, we can improve elements of it, but safety was the driving factor.
Obviously, that's where you guys are focused now, and it's very impressive. Justin, I've got a question from Jennifer S. in Knoxville, Tennessee, and she says, okay, how about a replaceable battery?
The replaceable battery question. Yeah, I've heard this
The
one
replaceable
before.
battery question.
Yes. Well, as we talked about, what consumers are telling us is that they want devices that, have beautiful screens, larger screens, play beautiful multimedia, have incredible amounts of storage, can multitask with the fastest CPUs. They're also telling us they want it in a beautiful, slim design along the way. We made a design decision back when we launched the Galaxy S6 series to move away from replaceable batteries at that point.
Really? I hadn't noticed.
Yeah, no one noticed apparently except for Jennifer. What we also introduced at that time was...
That was funny, people online. I didn't hear you laughing.
What we also introduced at that same time was we introduced wireless charging, fast charging. Right? These were solutions that we wanted to put in place so that, for the people who really love the ability to take a battery out and stick another battery in.
Sorry, I didn't raise my hand. It just went up. I don't know what happened.
For people like you, Shelley, we wanted you to have more convenient ways to charge. But we didn't want you to have to compromise on the slimness and the beauty of your design.
Waterproof?
Oh,
Waterproof
yeah.
as well. Yeah, frankly, when we went to unibody design, we were able to go, IP67 and later IP68, right? IP68 is where we stand right now. So the short answer, though, is we don't foresee going back to replaceable batteries. We don't. What we don't hear, generally speaking, is that consumers want to trade all those benefits off for replaceable batteries.
That makes total sense. But I think it's a good question.
It is. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I thought it was worth asking. Here's one from Tim. I'm going to throw this one to you. This is from Ronald in Albany. He says, I was disappointed with the level of service I received after the recall. what can be expected if I gamble on the Note 8, assuming there is a Note 8? Will there be increased support? And if something goes wrong, what will I do?
A great question. I mean, clearly, as we were going through this process, and we had 1 million consumers or so being impacted by this here in the U.S., it did put a strain on our ability to service those consumers. It also served as an opportunity for us to learn. And how do we improve that? We as an organization have implemented what we call a project rebuild. And it says we do a number of things extremely good, designing products, marketing them, distributing those. But we've also learned that we need to elevate our game in a few other areas. And I think service was one of those. And we're applying some learnings that I think will allow us to hopefully allow him to gamble on our brand. And yes, there will be a Note 8.
Well, since I now know there will be a Note 8, you heard it here first, or on the internet yesterday, or every place else that ever happened. There are 50% of you out there in Note7 Consumer Forum asked the following question in one way or another. So I'm going to lay this one on you, Tim, because it's what inquiring minds want to know. When is the Note 8 coming out? And if so, can I get a discount for all my trouble?
Got it. That was the top 50% of the question.
More than half of the people have asked this question. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. When is the Note 8 coming out? And more importantly, what are you giving me? Like, I want a discount for my Note 8 because you tortured me. Discuss.
Okay. I think of course, we're not going to say the date it is coming out. What I think we can say with a level of confidence that Samsung historically launches its S series flagships in the spring, its Note series products in the fall. Okay? So I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
And we're not communicating what those features are and what have you, but I look forward for the opportunity to win back the consumer's trust and the consumer's confidence, and we're working to develop something that they'll be quite pleased with, number one. As it relates to discounts and offers and incentives, we are actually looking at that. And we're not here to say what that is today, but what we are saying is that we have invited the consumers impacted by the Note 7 to join this forum. In exchange for that, we want to be able to provide them benefits. Some of that benefits becomes first look information, like we're sharing today. We're also considering what types of incentives that might follow for those consumers who are anxiously waiting for the next Note or the next S series. So that is work that is underway, and we're committed to delivering that. Just the same way we made compelling offers to consumers in the past, we'll make those compelling offers to consumers going forward, with an eye towards making sure we take care of those most impacted by the Note 7 issue.
Outstanding. Tim Baxter, Justin Dennison, thank you so very much. I really appreciate it. And now I'd like to bring Michelle back up here, who's going to just close this out. Note 7 consumers, you guys are awesome. Thanks so much.
Shelley and Tim and Justin, and a very sincere thank you to all of you who have tuned in tonight, not just for coming and joining the conversation, but for really engaging. It was really great to see all the questions that you posed for Tim and Justin to answer. Remember, if we didn't answer your question tonight, we will be responding via email with answers to all of them. As Tim also mentioned, we hope this is just the beginning of the conversation with you, and we look forward to hearing from you again. So we want to continue that dialogue and get your feedback on how tonight went, what things you might want to see in the future, and continue that process. So thank you again, and look forward to next time.